Am I wrong for calling myself mixed race? I got in an argument last night with some people about this, which prompted my posting here. A little background. My dad is a black Cuban and my mom is a white Ukrainian. So I've always considered myself to be mixed race, despite, as my parents have said, looking like both my parents are white. In high school, when I went to apply to the minority scholarships at the prompting of my father, my guidance counselor and teachers wouldn't give me the resources or help to do so because they said I didn't look mixed enough and that it was disrespectful of me to consider myself as such. When I started applying to jobs, I would mark myself down as mixed race when they would ask for it. Some of my friends found out I was doing this and told me that it's not fair to do that and that I'm lying by saying that I'm mixed race. One of them actually went to my employer and said that I lied on my application and that I'm not actually mixed race. When I tried to argue that I am, my friend said that because I don't look mixed race, I don't deserve to refer to myself as mixed race. So, am I wrong for calling myself mixed race? Am I wrong for possible causing a divorce in my wife's best friend's marriage? My wife, 31 female, and Amy, 32 female, are best friends for about 15 years. About 2 months ago, Amy gave birth to a beautiful baby girl. Me, 34 male, and my wife have 4 children. So we have been helping Amy and her husband Jake, 29 male, because we know how hard and stressful the first few months with a newborn can be, specifically because they are first time parents. My wife planned a girls' night at our house and invited her friends. She does that once a month. When my wife hosts those nights at our place, I usually go out with some of my friends to a nearby bar. Amy and Jake moved to our city around 1 year ago because Amy wanted to stay close to her parents and she had a better job opportunity in our town. Since they moved here, Jake has no family or friends nearby except me, so I decided to invite him to come with my other friends to the bar. Jake is very shy and reserved. He doesn't talk a lot, but he is a great guy. When we arrived at the bar, I tried to push Jake a little to interact with the other guys, but his answers were always short and simple, and then I told the rest of the guys that Jake was a first-time father and that his daughter was born 2 months ago. Finally, a conversation that Jake seemed to engage. The other guys in my friend group are a bit older than me, so most of them are parents, and things were going pretty well until a friend told us that the first time he thought holy shit I'm a dad was when he cut the cord after his wife gave birth. After hearing this, Jake went a bit silent and said that he wasn't present at the delivery room when his wife gave birth. Then he asked us if it was that big of a deal and if he missed a lot not being there. Well, the consensus on the table was that being able to watch our children being delivered to this world is one of the most important moments in the life of a father, and that yes, he has missed a huge thing and that he lost one of the hugest milestones in a marriage. After that, Jake went a bit quiet and left shortly after. 2 days later, Jake asks me if he can stay with me for a few days because he needed a bit of space from Amy. Amy called my wife crying and she went to her house to talk with her a bit. After that, Jake arrived at our home and that's when he told me that he wanted to be in the delivery room, but with COVID restrictions only one person was allowed, and Amy chose her mom. Apparently he tried to argue with her, but she was adamant, and in the end he was not allowed in the birth room. Jake told Amy what he heard at the bar. They got into a big fight and currently Jake is considering a divorce. Needless to say that Amy is furious at me and my wife is currently giving me the silent treatment. She said that I probably ended their marriage. I feel really bad with this whole thing, especially with the baby in the middle. Am I wrong? Edit. Jake is a surgical nurse. He already helped to deliver other people's babies. I guess that this adds salt to the wound. Am I wrong for cancelling on my friends after they changed our trip significantly? Me, 30s female, and 3 of my girlfriends, let's call them W, S, and R, 30s females, started making plans last month to go for a trip sometime in late November. I was pretty excited as I haven't spent too much time with them this year and I miss them, so I was happy to have a couple of days out of town with good friends. We had a group video call 2 weeks ago where we agreed on dates and booked our flights. Everything was going fine until W mentioned in our group chat that she's bringing her boyfriend along. After she said this, S also said they'd like to bring their husband. I was a little irritated since I thought it would be a girls trip and I'm not really close to my friends' partners, but it wasn't too much of an issue for me. The problem started when W added 2 other people into the chat who are her friends that I really don't know. She said they also want to come and didn't even ask if the rest of us were fine with the extra people. W and these 2 extra people started sending accommodation options and they even booked a place before receiving feedback from me and the rest of the group. After W did this, S went on to add 2 of her own friends to the chat that I've never even met and said that they also want to come for the trip. At this point, I was annoyed because I felt blindsided on top of the plans being changed without asking. I didn't even know the other people being added. A couple of days ago, I asked about the number of people going for the trip in the group chat and W responded saying that the place she had booked could take up to 15 people, so as long as the number didn't pass 15 it would be okay. After hearing this, I knew that I couldn't go on the trip because I hadn't signed up for such a large trip and I was already so annoyed by how I was not asked before all the extra people were added. I texted W yesterday and told her that I'm not going anymore and that I would make alternate plans with the original group later on if they would be up for it. W didn't respond to my text and this morning S&R called me to say that I'm being rude and petty and that I'm a butthole for cancelling after the accommodation and travel plans had been made. I agree that I cold told them earlier that I'm not comfortable with such a large group, but I wasn't aware that the group would be of that size and they also need to acknowledge that they were also not great at communicating. So, given all this, am I wrong? Edited to add, the trip was to a forest reserve area where we would be mostly secluded from other people. Am I wrong for not apologizing to my uncle for donating a gift he gave me? Throw away as my uncle is on here and I don't want him to know I'm on here too. I'm 18 female, allergic to peanuts. Last year for Christmas, my uncle played a prank that pissed a bunch of people off and then he got mad at me for what I did afterward. He told everyone he was going to get me something good for Christmas. Come Christmas morning he hands me this huge box. I opened it up and it was full of peanut butter and candy with peanut/peanut butter. He cracks up, but everyone else looks either mad or appalled. It starts a fight with my grandfather, his dad, who says there was nothing funny about what he did. My uncle is often a butthole and does things to try to upset people because he thinks it's funny. I ignored him, not giving him the reaction he wanted, which I could tell irritated him. I put together bags for the homeless every year. We have a local church who collects them, and I've donated for the past few years. I decided to make use of the gift and made a candy bouquet with the candy for the sweet woman who runs it, who I knew liked the candy, and donated the peanut butter to the same church to put in bags or food boxes for local families. On New Year's my uncle wanted to know what I'd done with it all and then got really mad when I told him I donated it. My mom, his sister, wanted to know what he expected me to do with it. I couldn't eat it. He was pissed all day over it. He's brought it up sporadically since. My grandparents are starting to talk about Christmas and my uncle brought up me giving away his gifts and said how it was a real butthole move. I replied that one could argue that him giving me things he knew I couldn't have and then being offended I made use out of a gift that was useless to me was the butthole move. Now he's pitching a fit and refusing to do anything for the holidays. I don't really see that as a bad thing honestly. My dad thinks I should apologize so I don't make the upcoming holidays hard for my grandparents. but I don't really see what I should apologize for considering he's the one being a jerk. My grandfather agrees I didn't do anything wrong, nor was I particularly rude. Am I wrong for not apologizing? Did you like this video? If so, consider subscribing to Reddit. We upload new videos and updates every day. Thank you for watching.